What's up, people? This is your boy Level Head, and this is another Live and Level Gamers podcast. This is episode 152. And yes, we skipped Thursday to do it on this today, which is Sunday, July the 1st, 2018. And we got our partner in the building, Jedi Knight. What's up, folks?
What's going on, guys? Glad to be back as usual. Glad to see K-Bomb D2K. I feel like I'm always missing D2K, even though the last time I was on the podcast, you were with us. But it's always glad to have you here, D2K.
Thank you. And since he named D2K is here as well, go ahead, D2.
Yes, I'm here, as you just said.
K-Bomb 20, what's up, man?
Yo, I'm in the house, ready to get this crack. I'm happy to have my boys in here. My brother from another land is here. Appreciate it. Gotta make sure we hook up again.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? We humble brag a little bit as I travel. But yeah, it's legit, man. I'm happy to be here. Happy to have the podcast ready to get this cracking.
And Mr. Keith Norris should be here after you get some things done. He said he'd jump in, so the whole crew should be here today. That's what's up. I'm eating a cheese sandwich just in case you see that my mouth seems to be full of some substance. But anyway, good to be on today.
I think every last one of our podcasts, somebody eating something.
K-Bum, most of the time it's you though. The K-Bum just drop out.
He just dropped off. Did you insult him?
Yeah, that's from talking that stuff, man. That's from talking that stuff. Hold up.
Oh yeah, he is out.
Let me. He trying to get back. Let me send him an invite. You might think I did.
I don't think Level would appreciate that side comment about the cheese sandwich.
Hate, man.
Pull this cord.
See what happened when you throw that shade, K-Bum.
That's hilarious.
Blame me. I'm throwing shade, man. I'm just being honest, man. You're right. It usually is me. You're right.
But anyway, let us know if you're in the live chat. If you're listening right now, let us know who you are. Sound off in the live chat. We'll send shout outs periodically through the show. But anyway, we're here to talk about games. But before we do that, man, what's been good your way, Jedi? It's been a minute, man, since we got up with you.
Yeah, man. Everything good on my end. Actually, I'm about 2 weeks away before the wife delivers. So, her due date is July 17th. So it's a little over 2 weeks. And really just prepared for that. Outside of that, when it comes to gaming, I've just been, kind of heavy on Fortnite. Dude, I'm getting my behind handed to me on Fortnite. But we're going to get into that later. But, yeah, man, just taking it easy, man, enjoying life.
Okay. That's what's good. So 2 weeks, man, from the big day, huh?
Yeah, man. Then the little one is here.
Do you nervous?
Nah, man. More excited than anything. I'm just I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. We've had like some sonograms, and we just told the doctors that we don't want to know. We'll figure it out, find out when she delivers. So, I would say if anything that I'm nervous about, it would be that, to know whether it's a boy or a girl, because we don't know. But just overall, it's just excitement, man.
That's what's up, man. I'm not gonna even lie to you, man. My first, I was kind of out of it.
Actually, just to throw it out there, we weren't sure about names for a girl. I already had a name if it was a boy, and Brother K-Bomb helped us out with a name. So we're actually choosing between Ruby, which is the name that he thought of, and another name, Gloria. And we're trying to have about 2 or 3 names. And then if we do have a girl, we'll pick from those. But I just want K-Bomb to know that the name that he actually presented to us when we was on vacation, that is one of the final names.
Wow, bro. That's great. That's mad dope, man. Yeah, man. I'm honored, man. I appreciate that.
You ain't special, K-Bomb. Nah. I'm joking. That's a joke. No, that's beautiful though. Real talk, man. That's cool that you so Ruby and what was the other one?
Gloria, and we still have a couple of other names that we're kind of like listening to and I'm not sure, but those 2 for sure.
Okay, that's dope.
Yeah,
that's dope. Me and my wife got into a little spat. My dad kind of came to the final say. I was wanting Aaliyah Kendall, and she wanted Kendall Aaliyah. And I said, my dad gonna agree with me. Said your wife the way she got it sound better.
Yeah.
I said, well, okay. So, but that's beautiful, man. Congratulations, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that, man. Thank you,
Congratulations,
guys.
man. And we pray that everything go well for you guys in the weeks to come to delivery date. And
Definitely much appreciated.
yeah. So we know what's going on Jedi Knight way. K-Bone, what's been going on your way, bro?
Man, I'm just trying to get settled into the new house. I've been here for less than a month. And like think about a week and a half, it'll be a month in the new house. I'm getting settled in still. And so I got my TV though. I wasn't playing with that, so I was doing some little bragging before we got on the air. Got a brand new TV. For anybody out there know what it is, got that LG C7 series.
Oh yes, that's that jump off right there.
Yeah, got that perfect black, whatever. You know how I do. You know how I do.
So why you didn't go with the OLED?
It is.
It is OLED.
Okay,
It is.
OLED.
It is. It is the it was between that and the Sony A1E, but the A1E was about $800-900 more, and I wasn't getting down like that. Yeah, a little bit too much. So I'm excited about that. Right now I'm looking at it. Right now, that God of War on that 4K HDR gaming is just one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my entire life. So just beautiful. That's what I've been doing, man. Just getting.
You got to share a screenshot of that, man.
I mean, it won't do justice, bro.
It won't.
It won't. You have to see it firsthand when you come through.
I thought them iPhones was could do that, but I guess they ain't.
Wow, that's Moshe. Okay.
I'm joking, man.
The problem is going to be
that was super
on your
subtle.
screen. That's the problem. Your screen.
Shots being fired.
Oh, okay, he's an Apple guy, man. He's an Apple product. I'm surprised you went with the Surface over Apple Apple product.
Hey, it was a better PC. I mean, I'll care about the PC. I'm not that loyal to a brand that I would get something just because it says Apple. I want to get the best thing for my money, and them Apple PC laptops are too much.
Yeah, they are. You're not lying about that. D2K, what's been good, bro?
I told you to skip by me in the group chat. You weren't even paying attention to that.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah,
I didn't hear you. Okay, well, all right. Well, we got a few people up in here. We got Dark Sun Rider in the live chat. First name basis is in here. Who else is in here? Insane Gamer is in here. As you jump in, I'm gonna let you know, let the people know who all down there. So keep signing off in the comment section. Anyway, so let's get it in. What you been gaming on since Jedi been out the longest, bro? And you kind of started it already. What you been gaming on, man?
Fortnite and Project Octopath. That's just
you got
exclusive. That is it, man. I've already pre-purchased that Project Octopath, and it's been Fortnite. Outside of that, man, I've just been trying to learn how to build. I don't know. I'm getting handed L's on Fortnite, but at the same time, it's super fun. I gotta admit, man, Fortnite on the Switch is legit. I had it on PS4, but it was kind of like they've been playing it for a while, and then kind of getting into Fortnite late. It just wasn't as fun because it was just too advanced. The players on PS4, but it seems like everybody on the Switch for the most part is starting off at the same time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, it's Fortnite is legit.
Okay, yeah, I'm not good at it either, bro. So I don't even feel bad, man. I got on it. I don't get the concept of building yet. I don't get how I watched the dude run past me and create a path of stairs. Endlessly, just kept running and building. I was like, how in the heck is he doing that? And it took me like just to build a stair. It took me. I was sitting there like, bro, I don't get it. So because they were climbing, you got to run up the side of mountains and high hills and stuff. And at a certain point, you got to create a structure to get up it. And it was so I just had to wait till he got done building his and ran up what he made to get up there. So I ain't got it down packed myself, so don't feel bad. It is fun though, but I still ain't got the premise of what they really want you to do and what you need to do. I'm still trying to kind of figure it out. But
True.
That's dope. That's dope. D2K, what you been gaming on, bro?
I've been too busy to be gaming, really. I haven't
Okay.
really do much. Just playing the same normal things, but not getting a chance. But I've been too busy.
Cool. Now you said, Jedi, you said you got that Project Octopath. Did you play any of that, or did I miss? I might have didn't hear you say whether you did or not.
Oh yeah, I got the second demo that they released, and I played I think 6 of the 8 characters in the game. The first demo you were only able to play 2,
Right.
and now the second one you have all 8. So this go round I've played 4. That game it is really fun. I really like the direction that they went. Um, you can either follow the path or you can kind of freelance and go to other sections of the world and actually pick up the other characters within the world as well. So it's kind of like you can start missions as any character initially and then set out on your journey, or you can actually pick them up along your way. It's so many different ways you can play this game, and the fighting mode is really strong. I like the particular flow of the RPG. It's a really good game, and normally I don't pre-order games, but I pre-ordered that.
That's what's up. We got Alex Prim in the live chat. You know, kind of talking to K Bum about the 4K God of War being trash. But what's up, Alex? All right, K Bum, what's good, bro? What you been gaming on, man? I'm pretty sure God of War is one of them, but what you been on?
Yeah. I mean, I told you I finished up God of War, and I saw that second trailer. It's when that second end game scene. That was pretty cool.
Okay, finally we could talk
Yeah,
about it.
I saw it.
What you think?
Man, it's I wish I still be playing in this one. You know, I wish it didn't end it like that. I wish it was more to this God of War now. They got me amped. So they kind of show you the direction they want to take into for the next one, man. But man, I feel shortchanged now. I wanted to see that. But
I said Alex Prim. I'm in Prime. My bad, Alex. I said Prim. Alex Prime. My bad, bro. Go ahead, though.
I guess what me and Alex was going back forward on was in 4K mode, it drops down to 30 frames per second.
Okay.
And so you have to get used to looking at 30 frames per second. And I got kind of motion sick the first time playing in the 30 frames per second. So I popped it back to 60 frames per second just to see if that was the issue. And so I've been trying to get used to 30 frames per second because that HDR 4K looks amazing.
Okay.
But it does drop down to 60. I mean to 30. So that's
now
the
is this
thing.
60 frames per second on the regular PlayStation 4?
I believe
30?
I believe, yeah, regular is 1080p, 60 frames per second, I believe.
Okay.
But I believe when you do the 4K, it can only do it at 30, I believe.
All right.
And so if you want to do the 4K, you have to lock it at 30. Cool. And that can create some motion sickness. And that's what it did for me. And so that's why I was trying to my fault. Prime said it's only 30 frames per second on the regular.
Okay, well
I mean I've been playing it on the Pro, which has been 60 at 1080p.
I ain't had no motion sickness on the 4, so I guess.
Well,
you
weren't playing on the 60 though. I've been playing on 60, dropping down to 30.
Oh, I got you. Okay, that makes sense.
All right. Am I getting this right? Are you guys talking about God of War VR?
No, God of War 4 on PlayStation Pro and 4.
Yeah,
but like, is this like virtual reality? Because you guys are talking motion sickness.
No. It's just the frames per second. You can difference between 60 and 30. You can see the difference.
Okay, and, I got you.
When you drop down to 30, after playing like 20 hours at 60, it kind of messed me up. But it looked better.
I did that with The Last of Us on the PlayStation 4. You can bump it up to I think you can change the setting to 60 if you wanted to. And I didn't like it. It was making me. I got used to the 30 and going to 60 was messing me up.
It messed you up.
So yeah, I get you.
That's what happened to me. But anyway, playing that Overwatch. Been playing Overwatch. Just finished the last season. And again, I know I kind of brought this up last time, but we need to talk about Overwatch because they just released another character, and there's no DLC for this game. There's no money you have to spend outside of whatever money you spent to buy the game, and it's 2 years out, and they're still releasing brand new content for whatever $60 or $30, depending on when you jumped in. that you paid for, and that's, like I said before, something you don't really see in video games right now, especially for console gaming.
But that's Blizzard for you, though. Blizzard, they really respect their fan base. You know, when they put out games, they support it. Kudos to Blizzard for that.
Absolutely, man. And yeah, so that's another topic I want to touch on at a different time. I want to talk about that and Warframe, which isn't free to play, but they've been doing the same thing on reamping their game for the past 4 or 5 years, actually.
We can talk about it. That was one of the topics. So I mean,
okay,
well, like it's off the table.
Okay, cool. I'm not gonna jump into it right now. We'll save it for then. So playing FIFA because the World Cup, so I got a little itch on playing FIFA, so I've been playing that. I actually I popped in Call of Duty, Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare, and Black Ops 3 since it's free on the PlayStation Plus, because I realized that my original TV I was gaming on beforehand had input lag, and the input lag was about at 50 milliseconds. And I just realized that now this other TV I have now, it's only about 24 milliseconds, 23 milliseconds. And so it's a huge difference between shooters now, between video games, the input lag. And so now where I was getting killed beforehand, I'm now actually able to kill people because it's not like they're shooting. Because beforehand they would shoot me before I can react because of the input lag. But now since it's cut in half, I'm back up to being number 1, number 2 on the leaderboard on every game. So I feel like I got my skills back.
K-Bomb, did you, with the milliseconds, did you change your TV to gaming mode as well?
Yeah. The previous TV was changed the gaming mode, but that was just the best it could do, even with gaming mode with everything turned off.
No, I'm talking about with the new television that you have now. We have the same television.
Oh, and, the same one? Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Even in gaming mode, the milliseconds are even lower. So if it's on regular HDR, like the quality won't be the same if you have it like on a HDR setting. But if you put it on gaming mode, you'll have that quicker twitch on that as well. So definitely, it took me about a month and a half to really dive into the LG television. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with that television.
Yeah, no, I did all the research and checked the videos out. Yeah, and I checked. The first thing I did when I got the game was put it on gaming mode, and I think it locks at 24, even in HDR. So you get the same speed in both HDR and the regular gaming mode.
All right, that's what's up.
Because I did the research to make sure that I wasn't going to lose out on that. So it's one of the best TVs for gaming. So yeah, for sure.
That's what's up. Tony, welcome to the live chat, bro. Glad to hear you. Let me see you in here. And so let's get into these topics. Before we go to the one.
What you been gaming on, bro? You ain't tell us.
Oh, man.
You skipping?
I'm kind of in the same boat D2K is in, man. I was kind of too busy to really game on anything. But I did buy that Mario Tennis Aces. I bought that. I played maybe an hour or two of it. I haven't gotten a chance to get into it yet. So outside of the demo that they had out, I only got a little bit in. It's still good. It's great. But the story mode is kind of, I'll say this. I wish Nintendo would go ahead and put audio to the scenes where you ain't got to read it so much. It's like,
hold on. Whoa. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
What, man?
Because I swore I was flamed for saying that very same thing.
Well, you said it about Zelda. That's what I was going to say. But Zelda got parts where audio is there, though.
But and then there's a lot of points that is not there, and I got flamed in the comment section talking about K-Bomb don't like to read.
Wow.
For saying that very same thing. I just want to put that in the atmosphere.
I got
when people come watch this podcast 10 years from now, they remember that K-Bomb got flamed and Level saying the same thing. So you can continue now, sir.
Well, let me explain though. Mario Aces has a lot of dialogue. Like there is nothing like, unlike Zelda. If you choose to talk to a person, oh well. If you don't, oh well. You just won't get that information. Whereas with Aces, when you going through the story mode, you got to read everything to get through it. And they trying to teach you how to play the game, but there's a lot of dialogue just to teach you how to play the game, and it's kind of like overkill. And it'd be better if they had this actual voiced out to where you didn't have to read the crap. I was like, dang, Nintendo, you're gonna have us reading this much. You should just have somebody sit here and talk. I kind of got mad at Orms for the same reason. When you played the demo of Orms, the little mascot or whatever it was talked. He actually spoke. But when the actual game came out, it was all text. He didn't talk no more. It was like, how do you have the demo and he talking, and then you have the game and you take that out of the game? He don't talk anymore. So yeah, I'm with you on that. They need to add some audio to this stuff. The text is getting a little too long-winded. But I played that, and I bought Wolfenstein for the Switch. It's coming in. I was supposed to be getting it Friday, but the shipping and handling messed up, so it's coming in either tomorrow or Tuesday. That's one of my boo-boos. Get ready, Jedi Knight.
All right, and yeah, you know what? Let me just put it out there too. You know, I'm not gonna say any names, but the folks in the Nintendo space that's hating on Wolfenstein, it's ridiculous. The Switch is a portable hybrid device. It is 7 watts, and folks are already. You see, this is what happens when people they go and they look at Digital Foundry, and then suddenly it's like you can't give props to what the Nintendo Switch is doing. There is no way in the world that Wolfenstein should be running on this, yet it is. You know, it is phenomenal what Panic Button has done and the way that game looked. And the funny thing about that is, before Digital Foundry even made that video, when I think this was pre E3, when they had the comparisons out of Wolfenstein and PS4. I think it was the vanilla PS4. And you can see the slight blurriness, but people were essentially saying like, damn, this is the Switch. This looks really good. And now it was no tweaking. It was just regular gameplay, right? But now that Digital Foundry has, talked about the dynamic resolution going as low as 360p, now all of a sudden it's like it's damn near unplayable. Like, people need to cut it out with the salt already.
Yeah, you saw did you see the Digital Foundry video I put up in our hangout? They was kind of, what was catching me off, what throwing me off was every time they showed comparison, they would compare it to the X and the Pro. I'm like, well, why would you make that comparison? It's clearly not going to compete with neither one, even though standing side by side, it didn't look shabby at all being compared to the X, but why not compare it to the Pro and the One?
Yeah,
and the 4 and the 1. I mean, so yeah, I'm with you on that. But
yeah, I didn't even have a problem with the comparison with the Pro and the X. It just further concludes what feats the Nintendo Switch it can do. If it can be compared, even put side to side. I mean, there is a visual difference, but
Right.
if you can only really see it when it's side by side like that. When you're playing the game, it's kind of like, wow, I'm playing a full-fledged Wolfenstein game where the levels, they haven't compromised on the levels. It's the full game. And it's like, I'm seeing folks, man. It's sad to see, because it's people who I'm sub to, people who I really respect. And it seems like, I don't know, man. They need to stop it.
yeah,
I would
They need to stop it.
I would like to chime in on that.
go ahead.
I've said this many times before. Any game within reason, we underscored with that. Any game can run on any piece of hardware that you choose. It's all about the developers. It's all about how much money they want to invest into the manpower of maximizing the capabilities of that particular device. It's all about the producer, I shouldn't say producers, but the publishers, of whether or not they want to invest that money to put into the manpower, to put the people in there necessary to get the game to fit on a device that really wasn't thought about on that scale when it was being designed or developed. You have people out there who actually have gotten Doom running on scientific calculators.
I've seen that. I've
Okay,
seen it.
so it's really not about the Switch power level at all. What it's about is if the developer wants to put this game on the device because they feel they're going to make money, they'll do it. Doesn't matter if the Switch is drastically underpowered compared to where it should be as a 9th generation console. It doesn't matter. That's not what Nintendo is pushing. They're pushing the portability. They're pushing the fact that you can take this game on the go. That's their sales pitch. That's their marketing ploy. So it doesn't make any difference that the console doesn't even come up to specs with the vanilla PS4 and Xbox One even. The whole hook is that, well, you can take this game that looks just about as good on the go. Now, we'll see what happens once Microsoft and Sony bring their next generation consoles into it, and then people are saying, is the fact that I could take this on the go really that important anymore? So it really depends on the individual. What is it that you need for your gaming needs? If you're a person that's never at home, or you work at night, or you have a night job or something like that, or you're like security or something like that, the Switch makes a whole lot of sense. And being able to play a game like that at your desk or wherever you are is pretty cool. I would think if that's the type of person that you are, it's not ideal for those types of games because they're not really designed for that. They're designed to be on the big screen TV like K-Bomb was talking about. They're designed for his TV. They're designed for Jedi Knight's TV and surround sound. And you sit in your comfortable lounger chair, which is your headphones or the surround sound speakers. That's what it's designed for. But if they're going to make money on this console that's selling well, they're going to find a way to put it on there.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
to quickly, double back on what D2K said and to compliment on that, my issue isn't even the comparison. It's just like what he said. It's based on what Nintendo can provide. Like, I'll give you an example. I've never played the latest Doom on PS4 or on PC, but I purchased Doom on the Switch. And I have it docked, and that's the way I've played it mainly. And the game looks great. Now, I know that if I were to purchase that game on a PS4 or on Steam, there would be a resolution difference. It will be very evident. But getting outside of just the comparison, the competition with everything, just as a gamer who's looking to enjoy a critically acclaimed game, to be able to have it in dock mode or to take it with me, it does its job. And that's my problem with it. Like, it's a versatile device and it does the job. Why can't we just allow it to be what it is, And it's not like it's a poor port at that. Like, I can understand with Payday 2 was a bad port, right? I haven't played it, but from the people who I know who've had it, they said that, the frame rate, the pacing, everything is really bad, and you can really sense it when you play, right? So it's essentially a bad port. But this is not what I'm hearing from folks who actually have Wolfenstein. They're saying like, yo, this is actually a really good port on a Nintendo Switch. And I don't understand why we gotta like overly nitpick and criticize. And I'm not saying like Nintendo fans shouldn't do it, because there's a lot of things that Nintendo does that I particularly don't like. And I'll get into that in a second.
Right.
Especially with their headset situation. But it's like, man, people, they need to chill. Like, just relax and just enjoy games. Whatever happened to that? I think we're getting too close to this. What's irrelevant in gaming? Does the game play? Can you have fun? Then that should be what matters.
In this day and age, it's not even just about gaming. It's society in general. There's money to be made off of negativity in every phase of life. You turn on the TV, that's all you hear. When you look at the newspaper, that's all you see. When you go on the internet, that's all you see. It's negative, 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 negative. And somebody's making money off of all of this, tragically. So it only stands to reason that in the gaming industry, you have the same thing. People dedicate their YouTube channels to bashing people or things, either bashing other YouTubers or bashing a particular piece of plastic they don't like or bashing companies that they don't like or what have you. And that's the reason why I just actively avoid those people. It makes my life a lot easier.
Let me jump in and then we'll move to our topic. But Digital Foundry had two videos out. One earlier when Wolfenstein was first shown, and then this current one. And to me, it seemed like they were so shocked the first time around that all they can do is praise it. Like the fact that it looked the way it looked and played the way it played, and it seemed like this latest one they took extra effort into shedding light on every facet of drops and dips and changes. And it's like, okay, but the average person playing this game, if you like, only way I'm going to see that if you playing it side by side with the other game, or if I had the other game prior to owning this game. But if I only play the Switch version, like Jedi Knight said, it is it is a good version. It's not bad at all. And I think that's the achievement, that while Nintendo didn't go for the ultra highest settings that the other two companies have been going for, their device is comparable and stand in pace. Because I don't see what much more they can do with whatever coming next that they didn't kind of already set with the Pro and the X. But you bring up an interesting point, D2K. Can't write that off. It's going to be interesting what Nintendo has to do once Sony and Microsoft makes that change. But for right now, what Nintendo did has been paying off as wow. It's like Panic Button, which is a topic we're going to get into, so we can kind of touch on it now. Panic Button is really exposing the hands of a lot of these third-party developers.
Yep.
Like, they expose them. Like, you saying this is impossible, we took some of the most challenging the most demanding games, Doom, Wolfenstein, and we have successfully ported it over to the Switch with little to minor adjustments to make it, and it's working. And to me, it's really putting the squeeze on those who would say it's not enough power, it's not possible. Panic Button is basically throwing a monkey wrench and all of that. But like I said, that's how I took it. K-Bub, you got anything to add to that before we move on to this first topic?
No, I think enough has been said about it, and so I'll give my take real quick, about Nintendo and playing Nintendo game. I know I mentioned to you, Level, when playing Zelda, that I saw the flat textures,
yeah,
and that it bothered me at first. And so my answer to that was to playing in handheld mode, because it looked better and you didn't really see all the issues. But once I got past all of that and actually just got a chance to play the game, I enjoy what I played. And the thing is, you have to have expectations, understand that this game, as D2K was saying, is not going to. They're not setting out to blow you out of the water graphically. Me coming from a PlayStation guy who love graphics and big numbers, teraflops, and 4K. I wasn't disappointed in the Nintendo offerings. Even Splatoon, I thought it looked good. For the art style they were doing, it looked good. Mario Kart looked good. It doesn't have to blow me away. It just has to look good for what they're trying to represent. And and the fact that Wolfenstein on the Switch looks good. It's not gonna change anyone's mind. Not gonna make anyone eyes bleed because it's so beautiful. But it's gonna be good enough to suffice for the users of the Switch, and for the people who just want to use it for an argument, because it doesn't look like their PS4 version or PS4 Pro version, can shut up and just watch their PS4 version, and let the people who want to play this portable game play the portable game and chill out with throwing out all the numbers. It's good enough it's playable. It's not like it's a that it's unplayable game. It's not going to be the best looking game, but it's playable, and it's Wolfenstein. So enjoy your game.
Yeah. Okay. With that being said, let's get into this first topic, and I'm very interested in seeing what Jedi Knight has to say because we kind of touched on this the last podcast, but since then there's been a lot more to this story. This seeming union, collaboration with Sony, with Microsoft and Nintendo, with the cross game play, and they jabs towards Sony. Now you got Fortnite Jedi Knight, so you kind of know, you kind of starting to experience the cross play. I'm pretty sure you experienced it before that, but what are your thoughts, first of all, with the whole attitude that Sony is taking on cross play? Like, what do you feel about their position?
Sony is wrong. Not wrong in the sense of not introducing crossplay because that is their platform. Where they're wrong is locking the Epic accounts. Epic is not Sony. And if someone who has an Epic account you happen to use a Sony box and now it's locked to that box, that's wrong. You shouldn't be able to do that. And it was surprising that that was even allowed. I didn't expect that to actually happen, but yeah, they shouldn't have did that, and that's bad business, and that's not really pro gamer. If it's a situation where you feel like you're in a position to where you don't have to really play nice with Nintendo and Xbox, then to each his own. At the end of the day, people are gonna pick the platform in which they're gonna play those particular games. The problem is this: if like I said earlier, I had Fortnite on PlayStation 4, but because people was playing it on that platform for years, it was so advanced that when I jumped in, it was kind of like I can't really get into the groove of things. Going into the Switch now, luckily I didn't sign up for like an Epic account. I just started from scratch on Switch, but it was kind of like everybody is starting at the same time, and it was really engaging, really fun. But say if I just created an Epic account and I wanted to transfer my, achievements over to the Switch, I should be able to do that, and I should not be prohibited because Sony doesn't want to play with others in the sandbox. That is where they went wrong. If they don't want to physically do crossplay on their network, then it is what it is. But to lock people out of their own Epic account, like that was real douchebaggery, if you ask me.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. Before I chime in, any responders, any takes?
I 100% agree with everything he said. What I'm saying, I wish Sony would do crossplay, but I didn't think their sin was not allowing crossplay. I think the reason why this hit the head that it did was the locking of the accounts. Without that, Sony would be able to be in their own space and not do crossplay. But once you lock these accounts that is not owned by you, that is when the storm came, and
Okay.
that's the problem.
D2.
Yeah, I agree with everything he said. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know how it can, like he said, legally get away with doing that. It seems like it violates a great number of antitrust laws and other laws that are out there in terms of fair practice in business. So there could be some backlash coming from that somewhere down the line if this continues on. But some companies are, they don't know, they don't believe fat meat is greasy, and they have to wait till the hammer falls on their head before they learn. So we'll see what happens with Sony. But to me, it just doesn't make any sense they should be able to legally do that. It's silly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before you jump back onto it, level, what I wanted to say is that um, what I'm really hoping is that this is not the return of the PlayStation 3 Sony. So the pre-release of PlayStation 3 Sony, which was a cocky Sony who thought they ran the video game market, which almost led to their demise. And I'm really hoping that this is not the return of that version of Sony, who got humbled really quickly um, in the first couple of years of the PS3, because this sounds like that Sony again. I just want to add
I
that.
got news for you. They're back.
Oh my!
That E3 conference told me everything I need to know about them. They are back.
So now looking at this situation, I started paying attention. Like after this more and more collaborative jabs were being thrown by both Microsoft and Nintendo towards Sony. So the question I got from this was, with this, how strong is this union, this partnership, this collaboration, and will we see more beyond just the crossplay commercials and jabs? Will we see even other things start to spring out of this kind of joint venture with Microsoft and Sony? Like, could we see certain mascots be traded back and forth between the two? Like, maybe Nintendo can use Banjo Kazooie. Maybe some with Mario show up across the stream, or some. Do you see anything coming out of this union even beyond what's currently happening? I throw it at D2K first.
Well, you kind of already seen stuff like that happen with Microsoft and Nintendo in the past of them actually allowing certain things. I think there was a Donkey Kong game for the DS after Nintendo had or sold Rare to Microsoft. I mean, not. Well, there was something. There was a Microsoft IP that was on the DS after Microsoft bought Rare. So,
Okay.
so they've done business in the past, and I think that I don't know if there's anything going on behind the scenes. We've joked in the past, and I've joked in the past that there possibly being some type of collusion between Nintendo and Microsoft, where Microsoft would take control of actually designing the physical hardware and the online infrastructure and operating system, and all Nintendo would have to do is just make the games. That would make a whole lot. That would make things a whole lot more simple, because at their core, Nintendo was a software company. They've never been a hardware company. They've always been a software company at heart. They've always been a game developer company at heart. That's what they are. They want to make games. They want to make play experiences. They only make hardware because they have to. So if someone else wants to step in and take care of all that, because you see how they're still struggling to get online up and running on their own console, almost 20 years after it became a standard in gaming, which is ridiculous because they were the first people to even bring online into gaming in the first place with the 64 disk drive back in mid-90s. But because it's not important to them, they haven't really pursued it. But if you have somebody like Microsoft step in and say, hey, we'll make your online, hey, we'll make the console, hey, we'll set the operating system, all you got to do is make Mario, make Zelda, make Smash, make Metroid, make Star Fox. That's all you got to do. And just think about how Nintendo could pull all their resources away from all this other stuff and just focus it into gaming. Laser focus and just making the best games possible. That would be tremendous for us as gamers if they did that. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's going on. I'm just saying that was something I thought about in the past when there was some other funny things going on behind the scenes that kind of suggested that there could be something going on behind the scenes between Nintendo and Microsoft. I think in this particular situation, I think it's that they're just taking advantage of an easy. It's like shooting ducks in the barrel.
Right.
Somebody did something brick stupid, and they just took a easy cheap shot at them because it was easy to do. I mean, if you do something that belligerently stupid and evil to consumers, how could you not pass up on that opportunity to troll them publicly?
You're right. Piggybacking on something you said, and going back to something not Jedi, but K-Bum said, this kind of relationship between Microsoft and Sony is not new. We kind of seen this doing what K-Bum said he don't want to see return, which was the PlayStation 3, the Sony attitude with the PlayStation 3. That's when Microsoft was like, buy a 360 and a Wii. Remember that? Like, there's like buy 360 and a Wii for the same price as a PlayStation 3. And they was kind of working that narrative around that time. I think it was whoever the president, Peter Moore, was it his name? Was over Microsoft at that time before he went to EA. He said he suggested you buy a 360 and a Wii. I don't know if y'all remember that or not.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, because of how expensive the PlayStation 3 was. Again, another jab. So again, a lot of these kind of collaborative.
And that came on the heels of them saying we can release the PlayStation 3
Yeah.
for $600 with no games and you'll buy it.
Yeah. So I mean, it is interesting, but let me throw it to K Bum, then I get Jedi Knight on this. Go ahead, K Bum. What's your thoughts? Do you see anything beyond just friendly jabs being thrown by Microsoft and Nintendo?
So first, I'll start off with this saying, and the saying is the enemy of my the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and it's kind of the boat that
Star Trek
Xbox
reference.
and Nintendo is in, is that their main enemy is the person kicking everyone's butt this generation, which is Sony, and uniting together against the front of Sony, especially with the easy target they've made themselves, is something that you're definitely going to see probably continue definitely this generation. I see this continuing this generation, that partnership. I don't know what's going to happen afterwards, because if Microsoft gets back on top, they've also proven that they don't want to play well with others.
Mhm.
So I don't see them saying, "Oh, hey, Nintendo, you can still chill." I can see them being like, "You know what, Nintendo? It's not you, it's me." I can see them pulling that move on Nintendo if they get back on top. So I definitely see it continue in this generation. I definitely see them doing crossovers, because Microsoft has been trying to do new stuff this generation since they saw they lost. And I don't see it out of the realm of possibilities of doing kind of crossover characters. Even seeing Nintendo lending their characters over to third party publishing, over to Ubisoft for both the Mario and Rabbids and the Starlink. What's my name? Right, name of it, Starlinks.
Mhm.
The Starlinks game. I wouldn't see it out of the realm of possibility of them doing the same thing for Microsoft. So I think it will be a little bit more than just the commercial we saw with Little Minecraft. I think there's going to be a couple of steps further, especially if they can do stuff to get under the nail of Sony, since Sony is the big dog and trying to make all the rules.
Okay, you gonna have to expand on that idea, K Bum, and like D2. You got to give some ideas, some thought to what those expansions can be. But let me let Jedi jump in here first, then I'll come back your way. So Jedi, with this whole friendly partnership with Jab throwing jabs at Sony because of the silliness of blocking Epic's accounts and blocking their users from crossplay, do you see anything building from beyond what currently is just jabs at the current situation, or do you see this might be something that turns into something else down the road?
Well, I believe it would be, and I really hope so. In many ways, I think it's really began on that path because you have games like Minecraft, which is owned by Microsoft, and it's now on the Switch. It was on the Wii U, and that's a Microsoft game, and it's universal. I think they've tried to put. I'm sorry, guys. I'm hearing a lot of echo. Is
Oh, my bad. Let me turn mine down. Go ahead.
all right. Yeah, that's better. Thanks. Um, it's beneficial to have a game that's universally, accepted, like a Minecraft, that's going to sell well on a Nintendo product or any product for that matter. And then it also obviously works for Microsoft. What K-Bomb said about the game Starlink, that's going to work. There's going to be people who buy that game because Star Fox is in it, so it's branding for Nintendo, and it's a sales booster for the creators of a game like that. If you think deeper about it, you can have, Microsoft owns Rare. Well, one of the best games that Rare has ever made was GoldenEye. What if, Nintendo and Microsoft comes to the table and says, hey, you guys are thinking about making the perfect Dark series, you can do that. But what if you allow us to do, like a 25 or 30, a 30th anniversary of GoldenEye and have that as like a eShop game? There's possibilities here that can really work if they do work together. There's a lot of money to be made. I know a lot of people who, including myself, if GoldenEye were to ever hit a Nintendo console, it is a wrap. That is a day one buy for sure. And the only thing that's stopping that is the lack of, working together. I think that if they see the benefits in that, then sure, they can do it. Um, I just think that they have to also kind of make sure that they maintain their own identity. And I think that's really all that this is about. But when it comes to third parties, it shouldn't really matter, because if you have a third party game, it's not really about, you know, an identity of, Nintendo trying to blend in with whatever Microsoft is doing or vice versa. It's a third party game. So if you're just gonna, interact via online multiplayer, then it shouldn't be a big deal. But I think there's a lot of potential in that.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
Gabe,
and I'm sorry. One thing that D2K brought up, and I think it's a valid point when he talked about the lack of online integration with Nintendo. I think the problem with Nintendo is, because it is true, Nintendo is a software first uh, company, and they've only made hardware in order to push their software because they wanted
right.
to have control of the software. But if you look at the IPs that Nintendo owns, the majority of them are like story driven or first player or one player games. You don't have a lot of, multiplayer games. You do have your Mario Karts and all, and your Smash Brothers, but there's a lot of games like F-Zero that's a multiplayer game that they haven't created. But you have games like Fire Emblem. You have all of the Marios. You have the Zeldas. You have the Metroids, Pikmin, um, Star Fox. You have a lot of games that are just like one player oriented, so they don't really see the sense in, really developing their online. But at the same time, you have games like Wave Race that people have been asking for, for like a decade, that would really benefit if they would make it and then make it online compatible. So, in that regard, Nintendo's dropping the ball a bit.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of say something about that. I just was when he brought up Nintendo being more software driven. That's a fact. And one thing I do think that's brilliant about Nintendo and their hardware is the hardware is driven by the ideal of the software. So whatever they're trying to do from a software position, they design the hardware around that idea of the game, not the game trying to fit to the hardware. The hardware is designed around the ideas and concepts for the video games, and I think that's a brilliant approach that Nintendo has, like a up on maybe the competition, because I think the competition think more power, more specs, more this, more that, and then we put the games on there. Nintendo think what is going to best get our idea out. So if we need motion control, because that's what the ideal is for, then we design the system around motion control because we have a game that's designed around motion control. See what I'm saying? Like, I think the GameCube controller was designed the way it was because of the ideas of the games that was going to be made for. That's why the A, B, and all that was placed the way it was placed in the C. The C button was where it was based on the games that they're going to be making. Whereas I think they messed up with the Wii U because I don't think they had any ideas for for the dual screen. They ain't really had no real fleshed out ideas. It was just hardware for the point of hardware, and I think that's what messed them up. They didn't have no game really prepared for the gamepad. I think that might have been the first time the games wasn't the focal point. The experience was, but not a game to make that experience a reality. But that was a good point D2K made. But let me ask this, and K-Bomb, you first of all, let me throw it back to you because I want you to kind of flesh out what you meant by we all kind of saying Microsoft and Nintendo possibly could have further things beyond just throwing jabs at Sony. What do you think some of those things could be?
Um, what is one of the main thing that Nintendo is missing on their console? To me, the main type of game they're missing on their console that they themselves don't produce internally.
Shooters.
First person
Shooters and
shooters.
most
Sports.
first,
Sports,
like I get the
Sports.
sports, but what does Microsoft excel at?
multiplayer shooters.
First person multiplayer shooters. I definitely can see something going on in that space. It definitely will not be a Halo because that's their bread and butter with but I wouldn't be opposed to probably even seeing a offshoot of a Gears on the Nintendo system, just an off branch of it, not a main storyline, but an off branch, something like that. Because I guarantee you, would probably sell on the Nintendo system because they are lacking, especially Nintendo themselves, the a first person shooter, especially a multiplayer first person shooter. You see that Nintendo fans want it. I mean, what 2 million downloads of Fortnite or Fortnite for their battle royale shooter?
Yeah, it was 2 million downloads in the first 24
Yeah,
hours.
Mhm.
yeah,
Fortnite, the downloads, they went absolute ham on that.
absolutely. And people are playing. It's not that people just download it. You look at people's friend lists, your friend list on Switch, and people are playing Fortnite. And again, that is a shooter. And so the appetite for the shooter is there. And if they can do something like that, the king of shooters, as far as Sony being the king of over the shoulder, people have been saying, but the king of shooter, Xbox, producing something for the Nintendo system or assisting with that, I think, man, that'll sell like hotcakes.
Okay, so let me ask this, because I know we've been throwing a lot of shade. Did you was you finna say something?
No, I was waiting for you to come
Oh, okay, I
Can
know. Go ahead.
actually give a quick response to that.
Yeah.
Generally, I absolutely agree. I think that Nintendo is lacking in that department, though I've been quite surprised on what they've been getting as of late, such as what Panic Button has been providing. But more specifically, I don't think we'll ever see a game like Gears on Nintendo because when you think of Gears of War, you think of Xbox, you think of Microsoft. And that's what I kind of brought up earlier about you don't want the blending of the brands. But with a game like GoldenEye, which is a shooter, anytime you think of Bond or GoldenEye, you don't think of Microsoft, though Microsoft owns that IP because they own Rare. If you are able to introduce that game, then you don't really have that much of a problem with, branding and people being confused on, okay, well, if I want Gears, do I buy a Nintendo or do I buy an Xbox? Because now I'm not really sure. When it comes to games like Minecraft, you don't really have that association, though Microsoft owns it. Minecraft is everywhere. When it comes to games like that Microsoft is sitting on, such as, the GoldenEye series or Perfect Dark, when people do think of those games, they don't think of Microsoft. They think of Nintendo. So I think that if they do try to find those games, it has to be along those type of lines for it to really make sense. But there's a lot of opportunity there. So I do in that capacity agree with K-Ball.
Well, I like to comment on that. Is that when you think about first-person shooter multiplayer, period, the true genesis of that in terms of consoles was the N64.
Exactly.
So I think that even though Nintendo has strayed away from that since then,
Turok.
Turok is another one. It would not be unbelievable or un-Nintendo like for them to put games in the same ilk as Halo or Gears onto the Switch simply because they started all of this. And people of this day and age just say, well, that's not Nintendo like. Well, Sonny, sit down and let Grandpa tell you a story. Okay. Because this, all the stuff, all the Call of Duties, all the Battlefields, all the Halos, all the Gears, all this first person, third person stuff, the Genesis, even though there was stuff before that, even though Wolfenstein and Doom and all that stuff was before, console third person shooters, first person shooters got started on the N64 with Nintendo.
Actually, that's a good point because there's a game that a lot of people may have forgotten about that was really dope on the 64, and that was Rainbow Six.
Mm-hmm.
Rainbow Six had great games on a Nintendo 64, believe it or not. Between Rainbow Six and GoldenEye, I was done.
Even if you look at the little multiplayer aspect of Star Fox 64, that little diversion in the game, a lot of people played I know I played the pajamas out of that. We used to get down to that. Just stuff like that. They launched a whole console multiplayer shooting genre. So if Microsoft were to say, look, Nintendo, you guys need to broaden your palette a little bit more. So we're going to help you with that. Let's make a Perfect Dark together. People associate Perfect Dark with Nintendo. Let's develop this for the Switch, bring it back, and let the chips fall where they may.
Let me shoot some shout outs. Sinzim, aka Afro King, what's up, bro? Also, Heart and Soul 72. You are right. I was going to bring it up. GoldenEye is not owned by neither Microsoft nor Nintendo. It's owned by I forgot who got it now. He said Activision, but I know Nintendo and Microsoft don't own it anymore. It was temporary. That was a temporary situation. Who else in here? I think that's it.
No, don't forget shout out to Cornelius and first name basis.
Okay. But let me ask this question. What's up, Keith? Welcome to the show.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on?
So let me ask this now.
What's going on, Keith?
What's going on?
What is that?
What is that? What is that, Keith?
What?
It's like a man. Somebody got something.
I'm using my phone. That was a text.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought you was transforming or something. Like, dang, these dudes over
Nah, that's D2K.
Go back up. Anyway, we've been throwing a lot of shade at Sony because of the whole cross-play position, and of course they deserve the shade tossed at them by blocking Epic accounts. But are we being fair, minus the Epic accounts? Are we being fair to Sony? Because I believe, and it's just me, if Nintendo was in the lead, they probably wouldn't want to do cross-play. And if Microsoft was in the lead, like Microsoft is, they probably wouldn't want to do cross-play. So are we being fair to Sony strictly on the cross-play position?
No, I mean, it's not really what we said before. It's not even about the not having the cross-play. It's about locking the accounts. All these companies are the same. All of them are in bed with each other behind the scenes anyway. But all these companies are basically the same. All they care about is the bottom dollar. That's all they care about. They don't care about you. They don't care about anybody in the chat, in the comment section. They don't care about anybody. All they care about is what's in your wallet or your bank or whatever you got your money in. That's all they care about. So Sony is in a position of power right now. So that's the reason why they're doing this. If the tables were turned, Microsoft was there, they'd be doing it. If Nintendo was there, they would be doing it. The reason why Microsoft and Nintendo are trolling Sony is because, even though Nintendo is a higher position of power right now than Microsoft in terms of popularity of the Switch, they're both still underneath Sony. So anything that they could do, anything that they could do to throw shade at Sony and knock them down a peg or two, because it's not about this generation. You need to weaken Sony now for the next generation. And that's what Microsoft is thinking about. From their standpoint, they're like, we already conceded defeat for this generation. We're trying to set things up for Generation 9. We already know the Switch is its own thing. It's in its own space. We're not trying to compete against that. We might even try to help it in some ways. We're trying to take down Sony. So we can work together with Nintendo to take Sony down a couple of pegs so that when we come out with our system, we have a much better chance of competing. And this is the thing that kind of makes it a little bit interesting. One of the rumors about Operation or Project Scarlet, which is the code name for the next Xbox console, is that it's going to be a console that has multiple pieces, but running on the same operating system. Where have we heard that before?
If I'm correct, that seemed like similar to what like the NX was before we knew it was the Switch. We heard a lot of information then.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, it sounds interesting,
Okay. Keith, jump in and say a few words. Then we're gonna move to K-Bomb's topic because I want to save enough time to make sure we get enough to talk about that. But any thoughts on this that we've been talking about?
I tried to listen before I got on. I'm not even really sure what the conversation was truly about, and I
Do do
apologize.
you do you believe that this kind of current tag team in between Microsoft and Nintendo has potential to uh uh birth into something more between them beyond just throwing jabs at Sony right now?
Um, it could. I know Microsoft is definitely open to it. I know. I mean, let's just call it spade a spade. We know that both of their positions right now in the video game space is making them become a team. Making them team up. So let's just admit that off top. But it could give birth to something great. I mean, Rare is a shell of themselves. I think D2K was kind of alluding to that. They're a shell of themselves. So it's like if they got back with cahoots with Nintendo and made like these cross-platform games, like specifically like really good games where you can play like a full adventure or something like that, that would be awesome. Um,
Yeah.
like a Banjo Kazooie, like we know it's going to sell on Nintendo platform, but we can also put it on our platform too and have it in 4K, and they can play together. And somebody could be Banjo, somebody could be Kazooie. You know what I mean? I think it could turn into something like that. But realistically, I just feel like right now it's like let's take shots at Sony.
And there's
Yeah,
one thing that I forgot about is that this could be Microsoft's way coming in the back door to get into the Japanese market.
You
Yeah,
think
that's
so?
actually a good point
it's
Yeah.
possible.
because they're doing bad in that region.
Very bad. People, it's like
Bad is not the word you should use for that. There's some other words, some
we're trying to keep it
adjectives
clean
you
here. It's
can
a family show. But
Okay. K Bum, let's go down that lane that you had kind of set up because I think it's interesting. You was kind of talking about what uh Overwatch developers and who else? I guess it's Blizzard and you name one
Warframe,
more.
the Warframe
Warframe
developers.
is doing with the fact that without charging you any extra money, without um linking it behind DLC and all these different stuff, they're constantly adding new content to these year to 2, 3 year old games, constantly adding new stuff, and still to this day haven't charged anyone who has bought the game any extra money for this added new content. And I guess your question is, should this be the model that gamers demand and expect from other companies with similar type of games? Would that be kind of where you want to go?
Yeah. I would like
Go
to
ahead.
compare. I would like to compare two different models to you
Okay.
guys. The first model is a model that we see in some of the big games going on right now. It's the game that comes out October, Christmas time. They say all the DLC they're going to give to you. They say, "Hey, buy my season pass and get all the DLC you want. I'm gonna get all the DLC that comes out this year. Buy the season pass for a cheaper price. You can get it all at once, and we will release DLC throughout the whole year to keep you playing the game for the whole year, if not a couple years to come." That is a strategy that is used by Battlefield, Battlefront, Destiny, Division, Call of Duty. I mean, I can name many more that uses this whole season pass.
And that's
Uh,
minus loot boxes, right?
this is it may be even with loot boxes.
Okay.
The EA game, Battlefield, Battlefront, they still have loot boxes. They still have season pass. Not anymore because EA doesn't do loot boxes. They're for the consumer. Um, but it was even with loot boxes that they had that. And so that was one strategy. And then you have another strategy that is more of a free to play type of thing, but it's a little bit different. When you have people, and I'll take Overwatch for instance, because this is the only shooter that I know that has done something like this, which is, hey, we're going to give you a solid game, and then we're going to give you brand new maps. We're going to give you brand new modes. We're going to give you a competitive version of the game. We're going to give you brand new characters. We're going to balance the characters. We're going to do all this for no money. And even though Overwatch has loot boxes, it is only cosmetic. There is nothing that helps gameplay with loot boxes. But there is there. So that is a way that they get their money is by releasing seasonal events that you can only get certain skins out of these seasonal loot boxes. And so that's where they kind of get their money, but they have this competitive mode. So the thing is, people are still playing Overwatch, and even Warframe, whose user count has, I believe, increased, even though it came out in 2013. A lot of people don't remember that, but it's on the console as well. But this user count has actually increased, where these other games like Battlefield, Battlefront, come out with a new game every year, despite of giving you all the DLC, despite of Destiny's promise of 10 years of supporting Destiny One. But with like two
Yeah,
years, two
people
years, something
forgot
like that.
about that. You
Oh, I
brought up
remember
that.
that.
Yeah, a lot of folks
It was 10
don't
years.
remember
They
that.
said okay. Even Division that came back. Now they're coming to Division Two. Anyway, but what I'm saying is, I think we need to give more attention and more praise to games like Overwatch, who has continued to allow the game to remain free. Um, and even I see Heart and Soul. He is saying that they do loot boxes, but he actually says that Warframe has been praised on being consumer friendly on their loot boxes, which is what I'm the same thing I'm saying with Overwatch. Yes, they do have a continuous stream of income, which is the loot boxes, but it is nowhere close to
Primarily
what.
cosmetic, like you said.
Yeah, it is cosmetic, but the fact that what I'm saying, it's not hard to get. The problem with with the other problem that people don't talk about with Battlefront games, yeah, Battlefront games, was that it would take so long to unlock stuff. That was another part of the issue because it took so long and so much of a grind that you had to spend money to get equal. You don't have that with these games. So, like I said, I think more attention should be given to a game that, again, that just announced a new character last year, which makes it their 28th character. And I believe Overwatch started with just like I think 21 characters, if I'm not mistaken. And so they've released seven new characters and about 5 to 6 maps since the game release, which is 2 years ago. And I don't think enough attention is being given to a console game like that, or even that structure, the way they structure their releases after the game, because the game is still alive 2 years after, and we've already got three Call of Duties.
Okay. Keith, jump in there and give your thoughts on that, man.
Um, that last comment you just said was like the mic drop. That we're still getting all of this content for this one single game, and they're still releasing multiple games. Uh, I just thought that was funny. Um, I'm not really sure what to say. Come back to me. I'm not really sure what to say.
Okay. Jedi.
Yeah, I can respect that from K Bomb. I feel similarly now that I'm in a space playing a game that in many ways can be compared, which is Fortnite. Fortnite, I believe, is in their fourth season now. And yeah, there's some cosmetic things that you can buy, but essentially, Battle Royale is free. And if you never want to spend a dime, you don't have to. Yet they continuously upgrade the game, and every few weeks they provide a different type of mode, whether it's 20 on 20 on 20 on 20, 50 versus 50, squads, duos, solos. I mean, like in April, people was playing as Thanos. Like it was ridiculous when you was going to get the glove, and people were running all over the island trying to get the glove to become Thanos. It's it's content on top of content on top of a game that is a quality game to begin with, and I think that companies that do that should be praised, and I think they're being praised by the amount of people who continue to play their game. When it comes to games like the Call of Duties and the Battlefields, we all buy it, and then a month later we rarely play it, and we go back to what we know is good. How many games has, for example, K Bomb purchased over the past couple years that could be similar, like in genre? Yet he continues. Every time we are on the podcast, the man says he's playing Overwatch. It's kudos to Overwatch. It shows the level of dedication that they're putting into that game that keeps the gamers going back, because there is always something fresh, something different, something entertaining. It's a quality community. You don't have a lot of douchebags that are kind of, you know, keeping you from wanting to continue to play the game. The game is not broken. There's no hacks and cheats and people ruining experiences. That takes work for these developers to maintain. And yeah, I think that should be praised. Absolutely. I wish that Overwatch would be released on the Switch so I can actually play it. Um, but maybe I can, pick it up on the PS4 when I get the time. It's just people who know me and see my PS4 account, I think I haven't been on there in about 2 months. I've just been on the Switch. That's where I like to play. And now that we have Paladins on the Switch, we have Fortnite on the Switch. There's no reason not to have it. And I would love to really experience what K-Bomb has been talking about for a very long time. It seems like the game is worth the time and the money that they do get via the loot boxes and cosmetics. That's the way that it should be done. And maybe EA needs to, really take something out of their book instead of, providing loot boxes that allows you on day one to buy the best gun in the game and completely break multiplayer within the first 24 hours.
Right. D2K, jump in here, man. Give your thoughts, and then I'm going to ask a question.
Well, one of the things about greed is that you can't see the forest through the trees. And that's the problem with EA and a lot of these other companies, Activision, what have you, because they want everything right now. They want everything to go their way right now. They want all the money right now. They want all the praise right now. They don't want to put the work in necessary so you can get more money, more praise, and more success later. And that's what they've pretty much done with Overwatch. Blizzard said, look, we are going to do things the right way. It may not pay off for us right away, but in the long run, it will pay off, and that's exactly what's going on. That's the reason why the game is just as strong, if not stronger now, than it was when it first released. And it has potential to keep getting stronger because the elephant in the room is, when is this game going to drop on the Switch?
Yeah.
That's pretty much it, because once Overwatch gets on the Switch, then that's a wrap. I mean, it's going to really, because people will be able to play this game. Overwatch is one of those games that fits into the portable game category. When I talk about the Switch, I talk about games that fit the portable dynamic, games you can pick up and play right now. You see what I'm saying? It's not something that you have to sit there for an hour and a half to really get yourself into it. You're walking around talking to people, trying to find something. No, you put the game on, you're playing, you're having fun right now. That's what Overwatch is. And that's perfect for a portable system. And the fact that you can do all these things, you keep getting new characters, you keep getting new boards, you keep getting things fixed and rebalanced and tweaked, and you don't have to worry about paying for any of that stuff. How can people not think this is a good model? But the problem is that people are greedy and stupid, so they do it the hard-headed way, and they wind up going through what EA went through this past holiday season, when people want to just blow up their whole compound. It's just use common sense and just do things the right way. It actually works.
And to piggyback on that, see, I haven't experienced this what K-Bum was talking about with Overwatch, because I don't play Overwatch, but me and Keith can kind of attest to it. With the first Splatoon was like that. When you bought it, it was kind of dry. The first few months you had it, it was kind of early, and didn't have a lot of maps, didn't have a lot of stuff. But as time went on, Nintendo kept adding more weapons, adding more stages, adding more clothing. You didn't have to spend any physical money for that stuff. It was added, and if you had in-game currency, you can buy that gun, you can buy that them clothing, or you can and the maps came for free. So I don't think they continued that idea with Splatoon 2, which I think they should have. I think Splatoon 2 has a lot of more DLC stuff if I'm not mistaken. Am I wrong with that? With like the Octo, Inkling, the Octarians or whatever it's called.
It's the Octopath, not Octopath, Octo expansion, and I think that's the only thing that they have that's paid DLC. Everything else is kind of like the first Splatoon.
Okay, still kind of running off of that similar
Yeah.
model. Well, I haven't played Splatoon in a while, so I don't know. I know they constantly giving you new guns, but are they still doing maps and stuff, new stages?
Yep.
Okay, well, see, it kind of follows that same pattern. That's what I liked about Splatoon was the fact that every time we come home, we was getting something new. Every 2 or 3 weeks, it was something new, some update, some tweak, and we didn't have to do anything to get that. It was just a part of my first initial $59.99. Once I paid for the game, all these perks and added content and improvements came with that first purchase. You know, like K-Bomb said, it makes no sense that I spend $60-something and you give me an unfinished game and then charge me for you to correct it and add the content that should have been there from the jump. I think K-Bomb hitting on a something we've been talking about, but the way he brought it up, I thought was interesting. And I think it should be praised like Overwatch and War. What was it again? Warframe and Splatoons and games that do that type of stuff where you getting their full effort without having to pay extra money to get it. Go ahead, K-Bomb.
You could throw Grand Theft Auto in that.
I forgot about Grand Theft.
Yeah, that was my other one. But they do have the paid DLC too, I believe. I don't believe all the DLC is free, right?
The thing about Grand Theft Auto is they gave you so much of it for free that you didn't really care about having to pay. That makes you want, I'll buy some more. Yeah, sure. You know, that's the thing. If you give them what they're actually asking for in the first place, they will be willing to buy extra things. If I go to a restaurant and I want a steak and you give me a chicken sandwich, I don't want to come here anymore. But if I go to a steak restaurant and you give me a steak and it tastes delicious and you got a new chicken sandwich that you're just experimenting on, I'll say, yeah, I'll try that. Why not?
That's what killed me with Killer Instincts on the Killer Instinct, Street Fighters 5. The way they pieced that game together. Killer Instinct could have been a great game had Microsoft gave you the full game. Instead of having characters behind seasons packages that you had to buy to get characters that should have been in the game already.
Didn't EA do that with Darth Vader in Battlefront?
I don't know.
Anybody? With which piece did they do that? I'm sorry.
Didn't with Battlefield 2, you had to like either grind for hella hours or actually buy Darth Vader with this latest Battlefront game?
So they remove anything that you had to actually buy and push everything loot boxes to cosmetics. But at the beginning, you had to grind to unlock or buy to unlock any of those characters, and it would take you like 5 hours or 3 hours to unlock one character, and it was like 20.
That's crazy.
Like that.
And Microsoft essentially did the same thing with Killer Instinct. I've never played it.
Yeah, like
but, yeah, that's
when
crazy.
You buy Killer Instinct, you start with 5-6 characters that you can play with, but some characters came in other packages that once you buy those packages, you got those characters that came with that season package. Even some of the bosses, like Killer Instinct was an undone game. It wasn't done, and they did and Capcom did the exact same thing with Street Fighters 5 for the PlayStation 4. You didn't have all the. It started with the basic characters, but as new characters came, like Akuma and certain characters, it was all behind a paywall and a season package. And if you bought that season package, you got all the characters that came with that package. But you basically buying the game over again.
Neither one of these games had an arcade mode.
No arcade mode. Killer Instinct is hard as crap. I don't even think they had a boss for a good minute.
No, they didn't even have a boss until season 2.
Yeah.
Aria, I think her name is, the robot chick. Yeah.
So it's like, bro, like what? So that's why it was so hard, because you if you beat these characters, there's nothing there is no purpose behind you beating them because there is no end game. At that time, there was no end game, so the game was crazy hard. I mean, I like fighting games. Killer Instinct is by far the hardest. I mean, entry level, no change in the settings, no change in the difficult level, just the natural mid level. The first boss is too hard to beat. You can't beat him unless you're really, really, really skilled at it.
They basically designed that game from the ground up for the whole esports community. That's what they built that game for.
Okay.
They didn't build that game for us who were fans of the original Killer Instinct on the NES, or SNES and the arcade and the N64. They made that game to appease the people who like to count frames and all that type of stuff. I mean, think about when you play Killer Instinct. After the match is over, they have the post-match screen. They have all these stats and vitals for the characters, like his blood type and his fingerprint. I'm like, I don't need to know all of this. Just let me know. Did I win? Yes, thank you. Supreme victory. Go to the next match.
Heart and Soul 72 added some more information on Killer Instinct. He said Killer Instinct at release was free with 2 characters. I forgot about that. And when you bought the first pass, you got the other characters. So you could play for free, but you only had 2 characters. There was J-Goal and I can't remember the other one. But you only could play with them characters. And then once you bought the first pass, you got maybe 5 or 6 more characters.
It's still free now. I mean, you can buy it, you can download it for free. You can only play as one character, and you have one character, J-Goal, and then there's a rotating character.
Yeah,
like every once in a while they'll change the character from one character to another. That's how they do it.
Right, it was whack, bro. But like I said, no end character, no boss fight, no nothing to really strive for. It was just play Killer Instinct, and nostalgia kept you. The nostalgia kept you going for a while. The graphics kept you going for a while. But eventually, just like with Street Fighter V, you come to the conclusion there is nothing here. There was really nothing here. And as good as it looked, it is Killer Instinct. It is fun. But beyond the initial experience, there was nothing there. And it's like what K-Bom was saying with the Fortnites and the Call of Duties and the Divisions and the Destiny, the original Destiny. There was, after you did all those raids, what was really there? Nothing. It wasn't nothing there. The original
Cornelius called it a demo.
Really, that's what it was. Division. Remember me and K-Bum jumping in there and these characters just sponges, taking our bullets and level head down and all that aside. Because I know he gonna say it. We'll be sitting there just shooting these dudes for hours. And once you got through the initial, you can attest to this, K-Bum. Really, was there anything there? It took a while to fix the Division to where now there's a lot there, but at that time it really wasn't.
Yeah, but that's even after several paid DLC that expanded the game, which they gave you a little bit more than what Destiny gave, but then some of that DLC, split up the user base, and that's one thing that people don't really think about or talk about. But when you have this paid DLC, it does split your user base to people who has and people who don't. So, but yeah, I agree with you.
Anybody who want to jump in? I didn't think about that, K-Bum. You're right. If I don't buy that, like even with Killer Instinct and all that, if I don't buy them extra characters, it's kind of frustrating when you got Akuma. You come in, you got the big afro looking like Mufasa, and I can't pick him because I ain't bought them characters. And like you said, and it's probably even worse with what you're saying, though.
Man, I just miss the days of playing really, really hard on the game and doing all the little secrets, like what was the Smash Brothers Melee? Yeah. All the characters and stuff you could unlock, but you had to just play the game. There wasn't no paid DLC. It was like, in order for you to get Mewtwo, you had to play X amount of hours, or you had to beat this. I miss those days. Like, I don't like this mobile game model that they're using on our consoles.
Well, see, it started off with good intentions, because people were saying, You know, I have a life, I have kids, I have family. I don't have time to grind to get all of this stuff. And so if you can, you know, let me be able to buy some of these characters or buy some of these pieces instead of grind for it, that'd be cool. And so it started off with good intentions. And then these companies says people are willing to buy for pieces of the game. We should just give them nothing, charge them $60, and then charge them another $180 throughout the whole year. They'll love that. And so
Yeah,
that's what.
I think that the companies created that narrative for as an excuse to do what they're doing. I think they were ones that got up in front of this and said, "Hey, the reason why we're doing this is because this guy over here says, hey, I got, my kids got soccer practice, and I got this, and I got that, so I want to just buy the game or buy the DLC outright." I think they were saying these things. I don't think it was big uproar from us that forced their hand to do it this way. It was a convenient excuse that has become basically the norm, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because if they really had good intentions, then they would just separate the two things. They wouldn't force you. They wouldn't lock stuff behind paywalls and ask you to pay full price for unfinished games.
And see, to me, that's where the greed came in. Is that they thought they assumed they can take it even further than what they originally started from, and especially combining it with the mobile mindset. But the mobile mindset isn't for the casual gamer. Well, it is for the casual gamer, but it's made to milk. Like Candy Crush was made to milk money. It wasn't made to make things easier for people. There was things in there. You had to buy lives. Really, that was made to milk. It wasn't made to make things easier. So I kind of think it's a little bit different, but I think that's maybe going off topic a little bit. So I'm gonna hold back.
Okay. All right. Anybody else got anything to add to this, or move on? And I think we went a good little ways. Anything else y'all want to talk about before we get out of here?
I just want to reiterate that I would really love to have Overwatch on the Switch.
I agree.
I
And
think they should do it, man. I don't
I
know
think
why
they
they
should,
wouldn't.
man.
Well, I
I
think
think they
Paladin's
should.
gonna put pressure on them to do it. I
Yeah,
really
and you
do.
know what? I think that it was a clever move. I think I've said that on this podcast. I said that I think that Paladins, because they was so far in second place and Overwatch essentially just dominated, that Paladins it was during the time when we were talking about Overwatch actually being able to come to the Switch. We were basically speculating, and we had no information on it. And I stated that maybe Paladins should actually make a go at the Switch because they had no place really, and on the Switch there was nothing on the Switch. They would basically have free reign. I think we talked about this like sometime last year, So I'm glad that they did it, and they may actually force, Overwatch to do that, and it would be beneficial for Overwatch, given what K Bomb said about how they're putting out so much content essentially for free. If you're now able to have another platform to where now you have a whole bunch of people who are now going to buy your game, that's an untapped resource. Great. Continue to provide new content. Now give the Switch owners all of that content and we will pay you $60. There's your money right there.
I think they basically were. I think that's Overwatch is coming to the Switch at some point. I think they were just waiting for Nintendo to get their online infrastructure straight, because without that, you can't bring that to the Switch.
And
Well, let me
Nintendo
ask
did
this.
say there's a lot more, and Panic Button said there's some game because Panic Button working on some games that they haven't announced yet. And I'll let Keith jump in. But there's some games Panic Button is working on for the Switch, third party wise, that hasn't been announced yet. So there's a strong possibility it could be Overwatch. Go ahead, Keith.
Well, I was just basically going to ask this: is it even still necessary? And I'm not trying to be negative or anything like that, but like we already got Paladins, we got Fortnite. That's just like PUBG coming over. Like, why do we even want to play
You
PUBG?
no
It's not
no
the
this
same.
this
It's
this this
Overwatch,
is
It's
bro.
not.
It's
this is not
Overwatch,
like
man.
PUBG. No,
But
this
no,
is
no,
like
no.
having PUBG on your system and Fortnite saying they want to come over.
But what I'm saying is,
You still want the king with the king of first person shooters right now, are team shooters. You will still love to have that on your system regardless.
okay.
Especially,
It's a system mover.
yeah, so it absolutely is, man. I mean, if people would spend 2 million people downloading Fortnite because it's on the Switch, I
It's free.
guarantee you. I know I understand it's free. No, I completely understand that. But Overwatch is selling for $19 in most places. I mean,
Yeah,
Paladin is $29 right now, and people are buying I talked to the video game her yesterday, well, last night, because I was thought Paladin was free on the Switch. It's not free right now. Everyone
Right.
playing Paladin right now paid
Pay for it.
$29
Yeah,
for it.
they're paying $30 for Paladins right now. It'll be free
Which
down the line, but they're paying for it
absolutely.
now.
So I don't see why people wouldn't spend 20, 29, $19 for
It
Overwatch if that came over.
it'd be like if Grand Theft Auto 5 came over. Yes, it's an old game, but it still carries so much weight. It would matter still today.
it's not like people still aren't playing it. They are.
Right. So I see what Keith is saying, but I also even understand what Keith's saying. I also see, yes, I would still think if Overwatch got announced for the Switch, oh yes, that'd be a game. That'd be, I ain't gonna say necessarily a game changer, but it will be a big acquisition for the Switch.
I'll go as far as say it was a game.
Yeah, I would too.
It would be a game changer because that would pretty much blow the doors off of any type of game coming to the Switch from third parties. There would not be any reason not to port anything, regardless of what it looks like. It doesn't matter if it's Battlefield, Battlefront, Call of Duty, whatever. If you could put this game, which is one of the most popular games out there today, on the Switch, then there's no reason not to bring everything else. There's no reason not to bring the next Grand Theft Auto that comes out to the Switch in some form or fashion. You know,
To actually touch on what D2K said, the first one, in regards to having a particular game come, then other developers can't make excuses. The fact that Panic Button is able to bring games like Doom and Wolfenstein shows how ridiculous it was by that developer. I think the game was Titanfall, when he basically stated that it would be ridiculous to suggest that that game would be able to run on a Switch console.
It was somebody at EA's. I think it was dealing with that engine, whatever that engine they got. All those games they make them working on.
Yeah, he essentially had an interview and was basically laughing through the interview. Like it was completely crazy how he was acting, as if, it's essentially impossible for this game to come to the Switch. And now to see what a developer like Panic Button is doing. But furthermore, I do understand what Keith is saying. Like now that you have these type of team-based multiplayer shooters, the thing is, the Nintendo Switch is really hitting a different market. Think about it. Everybody can have Fortnite on their consoles, right? But their consoles are tethered to the home, to their television. When you leave, now the only type of Fortnite game that you're going to have is basically like your Android or iPhone version. That may not sit well with you if you're really looking for like a console experience. Now with the Switch, even if the game is free, a lot of people will make that investment just to play a free game. Now imagine the same thing with Overwatch. Like, we have to understand that these are communities that may buy this game multiple times just for the convenience of having the definitive, quote unquote, definitive version on their, base consoles where they can play on the big screen. But then when they leave their house, if they go to school, if they go to work, if they're on a train and they got a hotspot, now they can continue to play this game wherever they go. So there's a use case now. And this is that niche that Nintendo touched on. I remember when we heard about the Nintendo Switch back like that October when they revealed it, we was really skeptical, some of us. But man, just a year and a half after that initial reveal, they've really touched on a space that is really working for them. I think that you can put anything on the Switch right now, and then there's a use case for people to possibly buy this game again just for the convenience of having a quality experience on the go. They need to get Overwatch.
And because of the art style that they chose for Overwatch, it fits in perfectly with Nintendo's dynamic. It doesn't look. It looks like a game that belongs on a Nintendo console. So people who may not even really have heard of it, which is ridiculous. But there's some people out there that may not have heard of Overwatch, and they see that game there, and they say, "Oh, this looks pretty cool," and they might jump into this community that they had no idea existed, and be diehard Overwatch fans just like that by playing it on the Switch.
Now, Keith, you got anything you want to add to that, or I want to ask Jedi? Okay, Jedi, I got to get this question from you, bro. Since we haven't heard from you since E3, since E3 has happened, we hadn't heard anything from you. What was your take on E3, man? Before we get out of here, what did you think?
Microsoft won. Microsoft dominated E3. Like anybody disagree with that, I'm sorry for you. But Microsoft, they hit that one out the park. I was kind of disappointed with Nintendo's E3. I felt like, dude, okay.
The Smash Direct?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. D2K, it was crazy. I'm sitting like, well, yeah, it's great that Smash is coming out, but I've never played Smash. It's never really been my thing. And not that I think it's a bad game. It's just not really what it's too twitchy for me. That's really not my thing. It's too much going on the screen, and I really can't keep up with that. And I think that for those who play the game, it's wonderful that it's at E3. But dude, 25 minutes? Are you kidding me? Like, where was Metroid? Where was any new game that we actually didn't have?
Retro, excuse me.
Yeah, it's dude. They dropped. I think the company that lost E3 was Nintendo. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think they dropped the ball with that shit. I do. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm cursing. This is family friendly. My bad.
Good, man. No, I ain't tripping off.
Yeah, I mean,
modesty.
That's me being overly critical. But
you think it was worse than EA?
Well, I don't even count EA. Like EA is better than EA, bro. It's like it's EA. But
okay.
Yeah, it's just
out of the big three, you thought they was.
Yeah, I think out of the big three, you know why? It was because after they finished with Smash, I still thought there was more of their presentation.
Yeah, I did.
And then suddenly it was Treehouse. And like for the first 5 minutes, I'm like, no, you got to be kidding me. There has to be more to that. And that was it. And I'm like, well, that wasn't a presentation for E3. You could have did that in a direct on any generic month and got that out. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. Go ahead, Keith.
No, I'm just saying exactly. Like you basically wasted your time even showing up to E3. You should have just said, "Hey, we're bringing Smash Brothers and nothing else."
That's it.
Like for real, like just don't have any expectations. We're bringing Smash Brothers like we brought Zelda. Don't expect anything to wow you because we're not going to do it, and they didn't. So go ahead.
No, I was going to compliment that. That's a great point. When they only had Zelda that year, when it was like Zelda and that is all they're talking about, they prepped you for it. So when you knew going into E3, you knew it was Zelda. Don't ask for anything else. That's it. And people was content with that because they knew. Like they should have done that, because 25 minutes of Smash and then leaving the entire Nintendo community hanging, expecting more games. I was pissed when I seen that.
You know what? I responded. I posted this on Nia's page. One of her videos is that E3 is basically supposed to be a job interview to the consumer, which is what us, from all of the major studios and from the third parties. You're trying to convince me why I should invest into your brand. You're trying to convince me why I should go out and buy a Switch, buy a PlayStation 4, buy an Xbox One, over buying the other ones, or buying the PC, or over buying the PC. When you go out there and you basically just cater to the people who already own your console, you failed. And that's pretty much what Nintendo did. They did not speak to anybody who didn't already own a Switch.
Mm-hmm.
You already knew that Smash Brothers was coming. You already saw the teaser trailer. So there was no reason to spend 25 minutes talking about it on your E3 conference when you were going to talk about it in the Treehouse, and you're going to have another direct sometime this year talking about Smash Brothers again.
Again.
So
don't make me go back on my rant.
Man, did you hear that? Did you listen to that podcast? The level went in thigh deep on Nintendo. Woo! He had the galoshes on and everything.
D2K is wild.
That was a classic episode. I should take that.
Oh man.
No, I'm trying to hold my peace because Jedi hitting on some real stuff, man. It did feel like this can't be it. And when I was at work, I was mad at my lunch, like, and I had to as well. I was like, well, I gave him a C, but I agree with you though. They should have had more. But go ahead though.
Yeah. Actually, the reason why I think Microsoft, and it's funny because D2K called it like that is supposed to be like an interview on why we should invest in something. After watching Microsoft presentation, it made me want to buy an Xbox One X.
Well, I wouldn't say all that.
Well, I mean, think about it. Coming from a person who I don't have a Microsoft console this generation, right? I have a PS4, I have a Switch, but what makes it convenient for me is that if I spend the money for an Xbox One X and then I get like their Game Pass, I'm getting dozens and dozens of games for a set price. So it's I'm not saying that it's for everyone. I'm just saying that what they've presented can appeal to a person who does not currently own their console. And in that respect, that's just a compliment to what they did during E3. And I got to give them props on that.
Okay. Hey, what did you say anything about Sony? How did you feel about Sony?
I didn't watch Sony's. I wasn't interested in what they had to present.
Okay.
You didn't miss anything. You can go back and watch the videos later on. As far
that's
as
essentially what I heard. I seen some of like the highlights after their conference, but based what was set up, I wasn't interested. And then afterwards, it seemed like I was right on that.
Yeah, I think they came with a bunch of games that we already knew about. Maybe like one or two that we didn't know, like Resident Evil 2 remake. Well, at least I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, I didn't know about that either. I think that's pretty. The Switch should get that as well.
I didn't know about that Ghost of Tsushima game. There's another game that they showed the trailer. They just showed the graphic for it. They didn't really show much gameplay. I forgot what it was called. But other than that, it was stuff that I already conceded to buying when I saw it 2 years ago.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay.
Oh,
well,
since we're on it, because I haven't been around, the two shocks for me. One is that Madden is coming back to PC. That actually surprised me. I didn't expect that.
How did I miss that?
And say that again.
How did I miss that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, EA has confirmed that it's going to be on Origin. So Madden is coming to PC. I'm going to get it on Origin. And I am thirsting to see the Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
What I'm hearing about this game, like the people who actually seen it in the closed viewing, this game seems like it is on another level, like damn near next gen, but on a technical aspect, like real living world on a different level. I am thirsty
you
to
didn't
see
really
this
give
game.
your thoughts on Cyberpunk, did you?
No, I did say that. I mean, it's the Witcher people, man, and to me, I think The Witcher is probably one of the greatest games ever made. Witcher 3.
Is it Red Project?
CD Project.
CD Project Red.
Yeah.
And the only thing that kind of turns me off with that is that it is a first person shooter, and so that kind of throws.
So you don't have the option of over your shoulder?
No, I believe it's first person only. I believe that's the only kind of thing that kind of makes me. But everything else I heard about the game is absolutely extremely amazing.
Yeah, I'm hearing that this is this is something new. People are talking about like on the scale in which they've done this. This has never been done before. Jaws are dropping after seeing this game. I'm amped to see this game.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast and they said the scale of the maps and the cities are so big, and this was just going east, west. They didn't even deal with horizontally or going north south. So it was just ridiculous how big the mapping and the space was, and that's yeah. Let me explain that. You can go down into like the place is multi-layered, meaning I guess like you can go down into like multiple basements or something like that. I
Oh,
can't.
like Star Wars 1313, if
Yeah,
that
like
game would have
that.
released.
It
Yeah.
goes so far. Like they said, they ain't even explored it that way. They just explored it, just going on the level they were on from east to west was so broad. They don't even know what it would be like to go up and down all these different layers of this city or this where they at. It's pretty dope what they were saying. So the potential is ridiculous. But I'm with K Bum, man. If it's a first person angle, it'll be hard for me to really dive into a game with that much time I had to put into it. I don't know if I could do it from a first person perspective that long, but it did look cool. But anyway, I think we have talked a good 2 hours. I'm gonna let you guys sign out first, starting with Jedi Knight first, man. Well, happy to have him back on. We got the whole crew here. Who said we was like the Avengers? Who was that down in the comment section? Who said that?
Oh man, I
Was it
forgot
Sim
who
Zim?
said it. He did.
Yeah, Sim Zim said we, like the Avengers back. But go
Oh
ahead,
yeah.
Jedi Knight. Sign out real quick.
Yeah, definitely. It's always a pleasure being on here with you guys, as well as the folks that keep up in the comment section. Um, yeah, if we do this again next Sunday, I'll be around for it for sure.
Cool. Keith.
Yeah, man, I apologize. I was out of pocket. My friend needed me, but I'm gonna go back and listen to this podcast. I'm pretty sure there's some great things said. I'm happy that I was still able to come on and talk. Happy to hear Jedi's nice voice. Hear him talk about and rant and praise um, Cyberpunk because I'm ready for that too.
Yeah,
But all in all, man, like I said, I'm gonna go back and listen to it, and hope everybody have a good Sunday. Go watch Power. I haven't seen it, but go watch it.
A new episode came out. A new season.
Yes, new season. I haven't watched it though. I'm probably gonna wait and get it later instead of paying for it because ain't nothing else on Stars to watch.
I'm trying to catch up on this this new season of Luke Cage, man. My wife kind of at my head because she's ready to finish up, and I got to catch up to where she at. So I need to go up there and kind of binge out on that real quick.
There you go.
But go ahead, K Bob.
Yeah. So K Bond 20 man enjoyed the podcast as usual. It was good to get the whole crew together um, for our battle against Thanos. So that was good, man. I appreciate it. I hope you don't see nobody disintegrating anytime soon. So I appreciate that. It was good hearing my man with the Mario. We got a chance to say it today. I got very excited. I was
Mario.
happy. No, but all in all, it was a good podcast. D2K came through. I appreciate that. He slid in with his comments and Level doing whatever Level does. So enjoyed it.
Oh man, whatever I do, huh? Just hosting. Just hosting. Anyway, no D2K don't do this, but speaking on him and myself, man, happy that y'all was here. Hope y'all enjoyed this particular episode. A lot of activity in the comment section. Let me send some shout outs again to Zim, and who else was down here? There's a lot of folks. Cornelius, first name basis, Tony, who else is up in here? Dark Sun. That's Jedi Knight right
Heart and
there.
soul.
Heart and Soul. Who else? Y'all was active today, man. That's know that. And if I didn't name you, man, don't count it. An insane gamer. He was in here.
Oh, the truth wasn't here today. We missed him.
Yeah,
He
the
wasn't
truth
here
wasn't
today.
here. I haven't heard from the truth. Was he the last one? Last podcast? I think he was.
I think he was.
I don't remember. I don't even,
Alex Prim. No, Prime. Alex Prime. Up in this joint. My bad. I said Prim. I did that on purpose that time. Dark Sun Rider. Who else is up in here? Trying to get all of them, man. I don't want to leave nobody out. You said first name basis, so that's all of them. But we appreciate y'all being in the comment section and keeping us company. But till next time, folks, hopefully we can do it again with Jedi Knight here soon because I enjoyed this. But till then, man, y'all stay safe and blessed. And this is Live and Level signing out. Deuces.